Vivitz Peach Mix Soda from Japan. Hey everyone, welcome back to Obscure Cola, coming to you from my studio in Hong Kong. So today's drink is from Japan. It is by the brand Vivitz, and it's called Peach Mix Soda. This is the character for Peach. It's Momo in Japanese, I believe. So, and then here below the title it says it uses nationally produced puree, if I am reading that correctly. And since this is legally imported into Hong Kong, they have to put this sticker on here, and it actually has the English name and English ingredients, etc. And the name in English is Vivitz Peach Mix Soda, PET 450 milliliters. So yeah, that's the size too. Anyway, let's open it up, and then we'll talk about what else is on the bottle. It's straight out of the fridge, so it's super sweaty because it's always humid here in Hong Kong. Smells very peach, like really strong peach actually. Yeah, tastes less strong than it smells. I don't know if that makes sense. It is carbonated. It actually says here that it's carbonated, but it doesn't taste that, like, it doesn't feel that carbonated. What else do we want to talk about? Taste is not that bad though. It says that it is 10% juice, or up to 10% juice. It like literally says it doesn't exceed 10%, I guess is what it says. And then it says carbonated. And anything else, I don't want to have to like try to translate all that, but generally it also says, I think, no preservatives, if I'm reading that correctly. So there's actually one interesting thing I noted from the English ingredients, and I'm sure it's written here in the Japanese one if I deciphered it all. But basically, on the ingredients list, it lists everything in descending order. So any ingredients label, they're generally, I think it's legally required everywhere. It goes from the biggest percentage down to the smallest percentage. And I don't know if that's by weight or by volume, but generally that's what it is. That's why you always see water, sugar, and then some sort of flavoring, etc., as you go down. And so it's interesting to note the order that things are listed in. So in this case, it actually says ingredients are sugars, and it lists fructose, corn syrup, blah, 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 sugar, and then fruit juice, and then in parentheses it says apple and peach. So it has apple and peach, so it's a peach mix. I guess that's why they call it mix, because it's not actually pure peach soda. And it's not like it's mixing more than one kind of peach. I think it's actually like, yeah, by the way, this is really apple juice because apple comes first in that list. So apple juice and then peach juice. But keep in mind that the very next thing listed is peach puree. So now, does that mean it's like apple is, let's say, 30%, and peach is like 5%, and peach puree is like 1%? So even if you added the volume or the weight up of those two peaches, it's still way, way less than the apple? Or is it like 21% and 19% and 18%, at which point the two peach things would actually overpower the apple? If it was that, I think they would probably put a little bit less apple in and put more peach in if it was really close. I think it's nowhere near close. But anyway, somehow this thing has more apple in it than it does peach juice. Although I would say potentially there might be more peach plus peach puree than apple. But either way, there's a significant amount of apple in your peach mix soda, hence the mix. Anyway, so that's interesting. I think that's why the flavor is not quite pure peach. Whatever, the flavorings make it smell like peach, but I can still taste something that's not peach in there. But luckily for you, I like apple. I actually really like apple sodas too. The other thing is, let's talk about Vivitz. I was trying to remember where I have tasted or drank a Vivitz soda before. So this is a Japanese brand, apparently owned by Kirin. And if I remember correctly, the last Vivitz I had was actually a grape soda that I had while I was in Taiwan.
Buto soda from Taiwan.
Maybe. I think that's what it was. So clearly they're making lots of fruit mixes or fruit drinks or fruit-flavored drinks of various types. I may have had an apple by Vivitz too. I don't remember. I had a lot of different apple juices when I was in Taiwan. My most recent trip. But anyway, that's the story for another time. So I am in Taiwan, and these are three, well, not locally produced, but three locally sold Taiwanese apple sodas. Let's also talk about the sugar content on this drink. So as you may or may not know from watching my videos, in Japan they don't require you to list specifically the sugar content. You just have to list the carbs, and depending on the drink, the carbs could be like 100% from sugar or it could be from other things. In this case, since it's 10% juice, you know there's like other carbohydrates that are not straight sugar or added sugar. Maybe, I don't know, it's like the flesh of the peach or something like that is in there too. So anyway, I always have this problem where if it's from Japan, I just have to assume like, okay, it's 90% of the carbs come from the sugar, or 95%, or maybe 85%. This one is a little interesting because it's imported into Hong Kong and has that importation sticker. Hong Kong forces you to list them out separately. So in this case, it lists the carbohydrates as 9.5 grams per 100 milliliters, which is actually kind of low. In Japan, a Coke is 11.3, so this is like way lower, right? It's almost 2 grams, like 20% less, basically 20% less. So how much of that is actually sugar? Well, that's the good thing, I can tell. So in this case, it's 8.7 grams per 100 milliliters is sugars out of that 9.5, which means there's 0.8, which is whatever, 8 or 9% of the total carbs is actually not sugar. So hypothetically, that's healthy carbs. I don't know. At least it's not going to give you diabetes carbs. So in fact, 8.5 or whatever, 8.7 is actually pretty good. Like I said, a Coke is somewhere in the, at least in Hong Kong, it's 10.6. So this is like basically almost 20% less sugar than a Coke. So if I drink 5 of these, I'm getting the same amount of sugar as drinking 4 Cokes. I guess that's good, right? I don't recommend you doing that all in one sitting, but you know, over the span of a couple days, yeah, it's not so bad. Just make sure you have an otherwise balanced diet and you're exercising. Okay, so I have to give my final verdict on the Vivitz Peach Mix Soda. So I'm going to say Vivitz, just call it apple juice with a little peach in it, if that's what it really is. Don't try to fool me. Anyway, so that's it for today. See you guys next time. Bye. Hey everyone, welcome back to Obscure Cola. Today we're going to try Coca-Cola Apple. I'm here with my son in Japan. Just got this at a Family Mart today. Apparently, Coca